Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 101 of the Need to Nerd podcast. I'm your host, Heezy, and I'm joined by my co-host, Paddy the Baddie, Paddy friggin' B.
Good morning, good night, good morrow. What's up, everybody?
When do you think people listen to this podcast the most? Morning, afternoon, or night?
I think at night.
It's gotta be drive to or from work.
Yeah.
So, it just depends.
Yeah.
Just depends. This week, we're taking a step back from like the intense topics, doing our classic Our Need to Nerd, where we talk about things that excite us in the world of the nerddom. Before we do that, Patty B, you gave me my third favorite draft pick in our fantasy football league.
Did I?
Yeah. I love the wheel.
Okay.
You don't like the wheel?
You definitely get to not play the game within the game that is trying to get someone back to you, because you just throw that out the window, like
yeah.
On the turn. So, I did randomize our draft order last night. We have our league all finalized. So, we've got Chase, new to our fantasy league this year, at our first pick. Adrian, a long-time listener, is going to be the second. We've got your wife, Debonair, at 3. My wife at 4. Titans for Life is going to be picking at 5. John, is that Jessica Dad?
I
think so.
Probably.
At 6.
I'm picking Jessica at 7. Is Christian, so.
Oh. Who's John?
No.
Okay. Good question. All right. I'm picking at 7. We've got Vantage Point picking at 8. Morgan at 9. And then Heezy Peasy Baby at 10.
Easy peasy. Touchdowns are easy. Let's go! So, this week's Nerd Fact of the Week is fantasy gridiron football emerged in 1962 when Bill Wickenbach, the then part owner of the Oakland Raiders football team, gathered with some friends in a New York hotel, and together they created the first fantasy football league, which was the Greater Oakland Professional Pigskin Prognosticators League.
Interesting.
Did you know that?
I did not know that. I know that Matthew Berry's the godfather of fantasy football, right? He's been around just for actual ages, but
I think it's funny that a part owner of a football team would create fantasy football. They already play.
Well, it's not like too far off, because it's a fantasy of like the players that you wish you could get.
There you
go. Right, like all those teams.
If you want to talk fantasy football, you want to talk Ahsoka, whatever it is that gets your nerd gears turn in, head on over to our Discord in the show notes. I'd be happy to talk to you about anything like that. Let's talk about our Need to Nerd, though. Patty B, I'm going first. Let's talk about the things that we're nerding out on right now. And I think we both have the same first one, and that is the Star Wars show, Ahsoka. Patty B, I'll actually let you go first on this.
Okay, yeah. So this was interesting. This was really funny. Where I let you know that I was watching Ahsoka, and you asked me, you're like, "Have you watched Rebels?" I was like, "No, I haven't." But it's live action Star Wars content, and I'm here for it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how lost are you?
I don't feel lost.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Which is good. I think sometimes it's good to have the naked eye, as it were, going in blind to something that, like, I don't think it's always necessary to like watch the previous stuff. You can enjoy a piece of content for what it is.
I'm certainly not saying like you have to watch Rebels to watch this. I'm more curious, like I was more asking from like a standpoint of like what is it like to be in the position that you're in, right? Because like I have watched all of Clone Wars and all of Rebels, right? So I have all of the information in this show, and I'm more curious, like, what is the show like for somebody that doesn't have that? Is it worth it for other people who like?
Oh, 100%. It's good Star Wars content. You're following. Um, there are things like that point out like, oh, like, aren't you a Jedi? Like, like I don't think it's like the, even though you don't have all the information about what happened with Ahsoka, right, to get her to this point, um, they can still tell the story without, um, like, having to have you like watch all of Rebels, which is good, because if they just jumped in like that, you'd be lost.
Yeah, there is a playlist for those who haven't watched Rebels or Clone Wars. There's like a playlist that Disney put out, and then there's also other lists that are like the necessary things to watch before watching the show. If you like want to feel caught up on Ahsoka stuff, what was really interesting is my wife watched that stuff, um, and so she has a really good understanding of like where Ahsoka was at, you know, and but the thing is like this show isn't just about Ahsoka; it's about the Ghost Crew from Rebels. So it's really interesting because she doesn't have that context. But yeah, it honestly, like, the first two episodes, honestly, all three of the first episodes have been really good. Like, I really loved the visuals of episode 3. Specifically, like, the planet looked really cool with those red trees, and like the design of the fighters that the Inquisitors were using to try to take down that was just like, it looks like World War II like fighter jets. It looks so cool.
Yeah, no, that was sweet. Escaping in the pod of space, like through the pod of space, was that whole chase scene was great.
Yeah,
Um,
it's been so good, man. Like, I would recommend the show to everybody. Like, I'm glad to hear that, you know, you're able to enjoy it without the context. And like, honestly, it's so good that, you know, maybe it'll get a lot of people to go back and watch some really good content in the form of Clone Wars and Rebels.
yeah, 100%. I think I might. I started watching some of those Clone Wars stuff, but I haven't touched the Rebels yet.
Yeah, I would recommend looking up a playlist of like necessary episodes. There's a lot of like junk in Clone Wars specifically that is just like a ton of filler.
No, I was watching the stuff Disney said.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a good idea. And you gotta watch Tales of the Jedi, which is just a great show. And those episodes of Ahsoka and Tales of the Jedi are just great.
Gotcha.
My next one is football. I know that we're like a nerd podcast, but we talk about fantasy football. But yesterday, instead of playing the Magic Online Challenge, which is something I try to do on Saturdays when I can, Saturdays or Sundays when I can, I watch football all day with the fam, dude. Like, college football is something that I personally like. You know, grew up loving. I have a tradition of chili nachos and college football on a Saturday, and you know, it was not a disappointing day for college football. For like those not in the know, one of the greatest football players of all time is coaching a team, the Colorado team, and that, like, it was one of the best football games ever that like I've ever like watched. And also, like, both of his sons are on the team. His son threw for 510 yards, which is, for those who don't know, like, a lot. That's like a lot. Yeah. It's an insane number of yards. As the quarterback, it was, and then my team scored 87 points, 89.
You're points. Poor.
Yeah. So this is the point I wanted to get to. The one of the key stories during the game is that Puddles the duck for Oregon does a push-up for how many points are on the board every time Oregon scores. And so he ended up doing, I think, 560-something push-ups because they scored 89 points. So he had to do them every time they scored. It was, the poor duck.
His wings were so tired.
Quack,
quack.
Quack.
I saw a video. I think I was like after they got to 81, where he was like going over the trainers and just like trying to
Yeah.
stand, like pass out on the
It was funny because when
ground.
they got to like 50 points in the first half, the commentators were like, "Was that even a push up? Come on!" Like,
That's horrible. Give the duck a break. Let the Wookiee win.
the kind of my last one is been watching My Hero with Maxwell some more. We've gotten pretty close to everything that he's able to watch. We watched the first My Hero movie together. He loved it. He was like, "That was the best movie I ever saw." It's really cool to like enjoy things with your kids. It is definitely one of the better parts of being a dad. And he wants to be Deku for Halloween now. He's just like super into this, and it's really cool to see.
That's exciting. Yeah, that'll be awesome for him.
Your next one is something we were going to cover in news, but you want to talk about Wilds of Eldraine.
Yeah, so I guess it's a news item. Wilds of Eldraine is coming out. I just did a bust for the shop for it. Got to look at a lot of the cards, and I'm really excited to like. Right now, I'm starting to focus in and tune my Pioneer deck for Atlanta, because that's going to be my next big tournament. With it being fall wedding season for my wife and I. Like the weekends are pretty full. Like Saturdays, even Sundays, we have events for the next couple months. So qualifying for the next one is not going to be a bigger focus for me. I'll have to put my time to like.
Whatever, you're just going to win the regional championship, Patty B, and then you'll be qualified for the next regional championship.
Exactly. That's the goal. So yeah, so Wilds of Eldraine is great, and you love otters.
Dude, I'm so excited for the set. I record my Pick 2 set review for my other podcast, Constructive Criticism, tomorrow, and I can't wait. It's going to be so good. What's Vox Machina?
So Vox Machina is a show that I came upon and then got Shelby into. There are 2 seasons on Amazon, and it is a D&D show. Basically, it's done by the people from Critical Role, and it follows this party and their misadventures around the land, and it is great. There it is hilarious. And it's 100% worth a watch. We binged through it. We couldn't stop. Yeah, it's great. I'd recommend it to anybody.
Awesome. I'll have to check it out. I'll put it on my list. And then the new TMNT movie is interesting. Oh, you watched it. I misread this. I was like, didn't they just release one? But
yeah.
Okay. So it is
good.
It looks really cool.
It's good. I was a little skeptical at first, just because I had heard some reviews about the turtles not actually like learning kung fu. They're just like emulating what they saw in like movies and stuff. But it's okay. Like seeing it was not as big of a deal as the person made it out to be. And like they made it make sense. There's a lot of talented people in this cast. It's done by Seth Rogen, where this is the first time that like actual teenagers have played the like voice roles. There's a lot of ad-libbing for some of the scenes, so it really feels authentic and like you have teenagers.
That's awesome.
Being teenagers.
I love the Turtles. That's actually one of the things that like if I ever get into comics, I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would be some of the comics that I get into because there's like some really good stories I've heard about from the comics. So
yeah, there's a good run right now with where like everyone except for Mikey has like
that's the
killed.
one that's the one I've heard about. That sounds really cool.
And it's just like he wears all their masks on his arm. It's like he's gone full rogue.
That's dope.
Killer Instinct, yeah.
What is the next thing you want to nerd out about?
The next thing I want to nerd out about. So we finally got moved over right to this place. We're still unboxing a lot of stuff, and I put away our games, and I was reminded of the fact that I still have some games that you lent me. So I need to get back on, and with the kind of the excitement from Star Wars, watching Ahsoka, I want to play KOTOR sooner than later. And I know like I don't have a lot of time, like extra, but I want to squeeze some in where I can.
Dude, I'm so jealous of you getting to play KOTOR for the first time. Like, just remember, because the combat system's like a little weird. So like, maybe go watch a video on how to do it to make it easier for you. But just remember that like it is a story game. Like it is like a D20 RPG, but like the story is the golden child of that one.
Okay, sweet.
Taking a coding class, I see.
I am, yeah. So this semester I am taking a couple classes that I have to take, as far as like science credits, physical education stuff, and then I wanted to see if like I hadn't really ever dove into computer science, and so like a basic entry level coding class seemed like a good breaking off point to see if that's actually something I'd be interested in doing for like work.
Nice, dude. And then I actually forgot that we were supposed to see Blue Beetle last night. I'm the worst. But I guess you were at Margaritaville?
I went to Margaritaville after I realized that, we were supposed to go see it after the Oregon game yesterday. But I saw your tweet about watching college football all day, so I was like, that's okay. We'll go another time.
Dude, I'm excited to see this movie. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, like, the reviews are not that bad, right? Like, people are like, oh, it's cheesy, and like the typical hatred that a movie like this is what it's getting. But also, I saw one that said it had a lot of character. So,
yeah, Sholo, who we love from Cobra Kai, is the lead actor, and I've heard just great things about it, and I'm excited to see him as a superhero because he deserves it.
Dude, my next Needs Nerd fulfillment is definitely Starfield. It's technically out if you want to purchase it right now, and you're able to play it. I'm going to wait for the free version on Tuesday is when it drops. So time of recording, it's the 3rd. And I think by the time that this comes out, like, you'll be able to, if you have Game Pass, just play Starfield. And I'm so stoked. Like, just, there's something like 3,000 planets to explore. Just like, and people are saying that like it runs like butter on both on Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, and PC. So like, let's dive in. Like, this is the kind of RPG that I think that we would dream about as kids, and finally getting to explore an entire galaxy is going to be really cool.
That's awesome. I'd seen some stuff where like people were exploring and running into walls, like almost like different plates. Like I think there were some early issues, but I think they may have worked some of that out.
Interesting. I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah.
And then, for those who don't know, I work in Web3 gaming for a job, and I have a bunch of alpha codes, the things that I want to try out for different games. And, when getting into my job, I was kind of worried because, of the stuff that happened with crypto earlier this year and that collapse. But what's really interesting is like NFTs actually make a ton of sense for video games as non-fungible, like real items that can't be messed with. It prevents cheating. Like, there's a lot of really cool things that Web3 can do in gaming, and I'm really excited for it. Like, I'm gonna dive into some really cool games. Like, the developers of the games, I've gotten to talk to some of them, and they're like really into making games, and like they see the potential for Web3 for gaming, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I think with some of the stuff that collapsed was people trying to take advantage of that where it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so, where it makes sense, I think it's going to be awesome. I'm excited to see.
Yeah, speaking of Web3
Comes with that.
gaming and my job, we did. Well, you can't. I'm not shilling. Like this is a big deal to me. I'm gonna have like just full disclosure. Like I'm gonna have equity in this company. But OneKin is the company I work for, and their beta sign up is available. So if you can just go look up OneKin on Twitter, OneKin Labs, and you are interested in Web3 gaming, check that out. The Mario Wonder Direct happened. PaddyB, are you a 2D platformer kind of guy?
Yes,
Dude, have you seen this game?
I have not.
Dude, you gotta watch this direct. This is like the one of
Wonder
the
Direct.
coolest Mario games I've ever seen.
Okay.
Tons of really cool power ups. Um, the world, the design, the art, like this is a really fresh take on Mario that looked really, really good. So that's like a huge piece of news that I think that I think a lot of people see like 2D platformers and they're like, oh, it's what is it, the 90s again or whatever. But this game looks fresh and beautiful, very similar to like the feelings I got when Metroid Dread was announced, where it was like, oh man, like this is like 2D Metroidvania, really hard game, really beautiful, and the things they're able to do with 2D games now, where like the art is just gorgeous and it just looks so cool. I think that's the direct was a slam dunk. Really cool to see Nintendo putting love into 2D Mario again.
It's awesome.
Next bit of news, we talked about it a little bit, but the new MTG set, the Magic the Gathering set, is dropping. The pre-releases are going on as of the time of recording, and honestly, man, like this set looks dope.
Yeah, I'd like to go to a pre-release, but my weekend is just so stacked that like I can't squeeze it in. But um, definitely want to get some drafts in because I think what I'm going to get to play is some maybe some limited or sealed RCQs.
Nice, nice. Um, Next bit of news. This one's kind of a little bit old, but the Switch 2 has been confirmed by more and more sources. Dev kits are in the hands of people, and Nintendo is going to make a new console finally. Well, the reason this comes up, Patty B, and the real news here is that the Switch has officially outsold the Wii in the U.S. and is now the best-selling Nintendo console of all time.
Got it. Okay, that's exciting. I know we talked about that before. Of like what I think it was one of our gaming episodes.
That it was getting
It's like a
close.
fun fact. Yeah, or just that
Oh, the Wii the Wii
most
was
sold.
the Wii was the most sold console. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is in the U.S. at least. It is now the Switch. Uh,
Awesome.
Kind of my last bit of news is the reviews are in for One Piece live action. I have not watched it yet, Patty B.
Me either. I
But
know you had started watching
yeah,
the abridged anime.
no, I actually started watching the actual anime.
Oh, you just dove in.
I dove in, man. I'm only like 5 to 8 episodes in, but we'll get slowly but surely we'll get through that 2,000
Is that,
episode backlog. And
let's say, is that like 1% of the show?
no, not even close. Got to get like 100 episodes in or something to get to 1%. No, but the reviews are good. Like it's people are really really into this adaptation. I'm probably gonna watch it. Like just I think that if you can be true to your source material, like Witcher season 1, for example, I think that people will come and they'll enjoy content, and it sounds like that's what's happening here.
Speaking of Witcher, that's awesome. Well, so that's awesome. I'll have to check it out. I haven't watched One Piece. I know a lot of people are hyped up about the One Piece TCG. So
Yeah.
it's everything's coming up One Piece. But speaking of The Witcher, we might have to do an episode on that. Have you finished Witcher season 3?
No, but I will.
Okay.
I will.
It's good.
you got FanX as our next piece of news.
Yeah, so coming up here in the next 18 days here, FanX is coming to Salt Lake City again. It's our big comic convention. There's a lot of, even with the like writer strike, there's a lot of good artists. The guest list is pretty stacked. So, so that this is a way to support these people during something like a strike where they're doing stuff for their old work, right? Not necessarily promoting their new work. So I haven't been able to go the last couple of years, but I really want to go this year.
Yeah, I got to do a Magic the Gathering panel at FanX once that was really fun. So
That's awesome.
Hopefully, we get some really cool stuff this year as well.
Yeah.
You got Dune 2 on the docket?
I do have Dune 2 on the docket. I did see that it has moved to March of 2024. It was supposed to come out this year.
Is it recorded?
I think so. I think everything's ready. I think they're waiting
till people can promote it.
That possibly. I think
that makes sense.
That may be something.
Delays are usually good, but I don't think this one's necessarily good.
Yeah, I saw that, and then I didn't realize that it's been 30 years since one of my favorite things came out. Have you ever heard of our Lord and Savior Street Sharks?
I mean, the show back in the 80s, and I mean, I watched it in the 90s, but
oh yeah, Street Sharks is awesome, and they're coming out with it's the 30th anniversary, so they're coming out with the new set of toys.
New line of toys. Just Mattel dropping the Street Sharks.
Yeah, Mattel doing a lot of stuff post Barbie. So
Street Sharks movie?
I hope so. That would be sweet.
Live action Street Sharks, let's go. That actually does sound dope.
Yeah, right? Like now you're talking yourself into
it. that does actually sound cool. Yeah, Street Sharks is dope, man. And, I think that any time that you can celebrate a big anniversary of something so nostalgic is dope. All right, that will do it for our news. Which piece of news excited you the most? Let us know. Leave a comment. And let us know the nerdy news that you're excited about, as well as the things that you're doing to nerd out in the comments. Patty, I said on Twitter, it's a new era of this show, and part of that new era is consistency. And so, we've added Patty's poll back. Patty has found out where he can post the poll.
Yeah.
So, Patty, what will we be polling our listeners on this week?
Perfect. So, the poll will be on Spotify because that's where I can put it when I edit the podcast. It's the easiest place to do that. So check it out on Spotify or leave a comment in the YouTube section if you're watching on YouTube. And the poll was kind of about what our Need to Nerd that we had of Ahsoka, right? So with content like that where it has like a rich backstory, are you okay watching it without seeing the previous content? Like, what are your thoughts on that? So it's
and we'll answer this poll as well on the following episode, so stay tuned for that, as well as your thoughts on it. That is going to do it for this week. Don't forget that you can leave a comment to suggest an episode topic. Where can people find you, PaddyB?
They can find me on X at PaddyB MTG, and Instagram. Yeah. So I don't use that enough.
And Instagram, baby. And they can also find you in the Discord, where you're the football commissioner. So, if you have any
the Discord is a fantastic place.
Yeah. You can find me at Spencer Mate. You can find me on the Discord. If you want to talk sports, it's Heezy Sports on the X. And then Switch Spencer13H on Instagram and on Threads. That is going to do it. Don't forget to like, sub, review. It's the best way to help the show out. And we'll see you guys all next time with another episode of the Need to Nerd podcast.